going on, good people? I'm gonna go ahead and put my headphones in. Why am I putting my headphones in? Because if I put my headphones in, then I can put this on YouTube, man. You gotta multi-purpose your content. If y'all don't take anything from me, you gotta use your content multiple places. You gotta take content that you're doing on Instagram, put it on YouTube, put it on TikTok, put it on Reels, repurpose your stuff, man. Repurpose your stuff. This light's kind of bright. Detroit hats. We got the Detroit hats lined up. I think my light's a little bit too bright. Let me turn this light down. A little too bright. That's better. What's going on, sir? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on, Ty? How you, man?
Cool. I'm good. It's our first time having a conversation.
Yeah.
But been following each other for maybe about a year, maybe longer than
Yeah.
a year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
how's it going, man? What day is it?
Hey.
Tuesday? Thursday?
Yeah, it's Wednesday, actually. Wednesday. Yeah.
Oh, man.
on my side of the map.
What part of the
How's
country
everything
you in?
going? I'm in Jersey.
Jersey.
Yeah.
Where I am, we're getting towards the end of summer. And so I found that you kind of get that last little burst of hot air towards the
Yeah,
end of summer. So
hurricane season.
looking forward to it ending, though. I prefer
Yes.
fall out here in Southern California where everything costs 10 times what it should. I'm sure you could say the same thing in New Jersey, too, though, right? It's pretty
Yeah,
pricey
especially
out
the
there.
taxes. Absolutely. Property taxes are crazy. Yeah.
So for the people who don't know, who are you, brother?
Who am I? I'm Hove. I'm a real estate investor, stock investor. I own a few different companies, and I don't want to say recently, but recently I actually started taking the rental car space a little bit more seriously. So I broke into Turo, and I think I cracked the algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So before we get into the Churro, I'm
absolutely.
curious, what was life like for you growing up?
Life like growing up really wasn't the best. I'm from North New Jersey, so a lot of my fathers already know it. Know what I mean, and I just pretty much grew up like where nothing was really handed out. Like everything that I got, I had to take. You know what I mean? I had to earn it. I started early. You know what I mean, far as like entrepreneurship, but more so than anything, anybody who knows me, I'm a workaholic. Like even right now, like I got off work this morning. I go back to work in about maybe 2 hours or so.
That's crazy.
Know what I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's one thing that defines me is pretty much credibility, integrity, and just hard work. That's just how I feel. I feel as though I can do anything. I don't have any disbelief or any discouragements. I mean, you can't really stop me.
So Turo is hot right now.
Very hot.
What drove you to Turo? What inspired you to get into the space?
Say that one more time. You was breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, it was breaking up. Hopefully we don't have that happening. But I was saying, what inspired you to get into Churro?
Yeah.
You still can't hear me?
All right. What made me choose Toro was yeah, I can hear you. We good now. What made me really jump into Toro was simply because I invest in real estate and I buy a lot of different properties and sell properties as well. And I was looking at my ROI on some of the properties that I was actually getting as far as my return on my investments after I paid the mortgage and what I was looking at. And I was looking at Toro for a while, and I was always looking for a business partner to go into it with me. You know what I mean? And then one day I woke up, I said, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna do this myself. So I understand how quick cars depreciate. It's not really, unless you got like a collector's, something like that, maybe it'll appreciate. But me understanding how quick cars depreciated, I had to find a way because I seen no reason for them besides minimum transportation. But I had to find a way because transportation is a necessity. So I said, wait a minute, this might be on to something. So I decided to just test the market. I tapped into it, and I got really good results with one vehicle. So once I got those good results with one vehicle, I said, it's time to expand. So I started buying more and more vehicles, and then I started to scale. I mean, and anybody who's watching this, don't run into any of this without doing excessive research. Research your market, right? Because where I'm at is in New Jersey, where Todd is at is in California, A lot of those other guys, you got a lot of other influencers like CEO Matty. Matty, he's doing his thing. He's killing the game, but he's also out in Atlanta, right? It's a lot of different things that come into play with how Turo is actually going to be effective for you, whether or not you can be profitable on it, or whether or not you're just going to be like a hit or miss.
Yeah. Are you renting your cars out of Jersey, or are you renting them out of New York? 'Cause I know New York is relatively close to Jersey. So what does that look like for you?
So this is another thing for we have any New York watchers. New York is actually not allowed for Turo unless it's commercial accounts.
Oh, wow.
And the reason for that is because Turo technically isn't a rental car company. It's a peer-to-peer sharing company. And then also, as far as insurance-wise, works through Liberty Mutual, New York is saying, no, 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 no. You guys are providing insurance. You're an insurance company and you're a rental car company. But Turo doesn't want that label over their head. So therefore, you can't actually rent cars in, like, if you put it like this, if you guys go and purchase a vehicle, if you ever look at New York prices for vehicles, a lot of times they're a lot cheaper, right? However, if you buy a vehicle from New York right now and try to put it on a Turo platform, and even though you live in New Jersey, you're going to have a problem because the registration is still registered to New York. So you'll be waiting right now with the COVID backup for your plates to come in. And waiting for your plates to come in, you're going to have a car just sitting there depreciating, and you're going to be paying that car note for a few months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first car that you got, how did you finance that? Was that just your personal car, or what did that look like?
The first car I got, I'm a Beamer guy. I like BMW. I had a vehicle. I had an X5 BMW. Like I stated in the beginning, cars appreciate so freaking fast. So what I started to do was my car note was like $3 something a month. I started to pay $1,000 a month so I can get under depreciation factor. So that way I'll have some positive equity built into the vehicle. So what I did from that, I actually sold it, because before you go into any business plan, you want to make sure you got an exit strategy, right? And my exit strategy was to get under what the vehicle was worth in case something happened. So in the event that something did happen, I can sell the vehicle. I got the money for it, right? So I had to get under what the negative equity was. So now my vehicle is actually in a positive. It cost me a little bit more to do that, but I ended up paying the car off in 2 years. I ended up selling the car for about like $14K and then using that money to go buy another vehicle. So to your question, my first vehicle was actually a 2015 BMW 3 Series, base model, stock, bone dry, no GPS, no comfort access, just four-wheel drive. It had the needed necessities, no turbo, and it's excellent on gas. And how I actually got that vehicle, I actually financed it through a credit union. And the reason why I would say to use credit unions rather than your own money is because it's a lot of power in leveraging credit. There's a lot of power in leveraging credit and also using your cash on the back end as well. Because with that cash, instead of me going out and buying one car, which I could have, I actually use that cash to break down and buy multiple vehicles by leveraging credit. And credit unions are a little bit more forgiving than the dealers. You get a lot lower price, a lot lower APR as far as which is your interest rates. And the less money you spend, the more money you make. So the money you save is the money back in your pocket.
How many cars in your fleet now?
8, 9.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm actually running on Turo and off of Turo, to be honest.
The off of Churro thing, we definitely got to talk about that, because I've heard people talk about the direct listings or whatever they call it.
Yeah, private rentals. There's other few companies. You mind if I talk about them? The other platforms as well?
Absolutely. I was curious though, because I wanted to ask you where you're parking all these cars, and then we can get to the other stuff.
Where I park them, I really don't want to say, but what I'll tell you is that there's reasons why. There's reasons why. But what I would suggest is that you can actually work out a lot of different, lease agreements. You can go on Facebook and type in parking on Facebook Marketplace and type in parking, and then you'll find individuals who actually have lots. During your ride around, if you hunt real estate and you're always looking for property, go look at some of these old, like COVID took out a lot of businesses, a lot of establishments, and actually what's left is their parking lots. So I contacting the real estate companies, contacting the leasers and the owners, and say, hey, listen, how about we come up with a plan? I have X amount of cards. How about this? How about I pay you for the lot? You're not doing anything else with the building. You're not even getting any more customers. So why not get some money coming in? And that's what I do. That's what I
Yeah.
do. So
Um, of all the cars that you have, are they all luxury cars, or do you have some economy cars mixed in?
that's the gem right there. That's the play. That's the play. The key to being profitable on Turo is not luxury cars. And I was saying that the other day. A lot of people, I said, don't get caught up in the Turo ads, because the Turo ads and marketing are going to show you Porsches. They're going to show you Lamborghinis. They're going to show you all type of things, right? Those are the cars that say, hey, come rent me, because it's good for advertising and marketing. But the money side for Turo is not in luxury cars, right? And the reason why I say that is because luxury cars are very expensive. That's one, right? Unless you got the money to buy them out, in which a lot of us don't, you want to make sure that you have some sort of cash flow that's coming in. You are not profitable in Toro until you overcome your car note and your insurance. If you got a car note for $400 and you're only making $500, I can guarantee you're in the negative, and that's not where you want to be. So therefore, I would probably say this: if you do luxury cars, I'll give you an example. A Maserati. Maserati is nice. Depreciation factor on a Maserati is beautiful. It's just that the repairs is going to cost you a lot, right? However, if you look on the back end of it, you can rent a Maserati out for what, $130 a day. Now, you can go down the list of files. We can ask a lot of different people. I'm gonna be honest. I can't afford to rent a Maserati for $130 a day for 7 days a week. That's not what I want to do. You understand? However, I got a 2012 Dodge Caliber that I rent out for $45 a day that I bought for $3,500. Right now, that car is going 24 days. I mean, it's going 7 days out of every week. It comes back, it goes right back out. A car that I paid $3,500 for probably makes me about $800 a month, and it has no expenses whatsoever. So you want to have cash cars. When you start talking about Toro, you start talking about a portfolio, you kind of blend it in with the stocks. If you understand anything about the stock market, then you automatically know that diversity is king. Diversity is what keeps you afloat. So your fleet itself is a portfolio. You diversify. You throw some cash cars, some everyday cars, and then you complement it with exotics and things like that. Because I'll be honest, my little cash car paid for everything. Cash car paid for everything.
So it's funny because you have to rethink your mind when you go into business for yourself. Everybody's like, I want to sell what I like. I want to drive what I like. I want the Beamer. I want the Porsche. I want the Tesla.
Yes.
And they out there wondering why their business isn't profitable. But they
Absolutely.
look good, though.
It definitely does. It definitely
You're shining.
does.
It looks good on the gram.
Yeah, it does. It looks good for the gram. It looks good for the gram. But if you start off like that, you're gonna be chasing your tail, because you're gonna be chasing yourself out of negative, trying to become more positive. And 9 out of 10 times, that's going down the dead end on that side, brother.
One of the things that I think played a huge part is a lot of these rental car companies didn't have any cars. And so Turo could kind of name their price.
Yes, and that's correct. And that's another problem that a lot of people are actually going to be shocked with, because we also talk about the pros of Turo. Now we also have to speak about the negatives of Turo as well. And one of the things, as far as when I say negatives of Turo, is that what we are seeing right now is price inflation. And the reason why we're seeing price inflation is because Turo has cornered the market and taken advantage of the used car, uprise and the chip shortage on the new vehicles. So due to the fact there's a chip shortage, used cars actually costing more. But at the same time, rental companies don't really buy used cars. When they put those cars out in the fleet for area like Enterprise and Hertz, those are new cars that they have some sort of, relationship with whatever dealer to get those vehicles in. So they get those vehicles in. And now what happened with COVID is that a lot of them was pretty much their pants down. They were over leveraged in a sense. So now you couldn't sell a car at that time during COVID. They couldn't buy a car, and you got nobody renting a car because the world itself was shut down. So therefore they had to liquidate. And in order to liquidate, they had to sell off or file for bankruptcy. And right now the demand has surged, has came back so freaking quick that they can't catch up to it. And that's where Turo pretty much took advantage of it. So the prices that you're seeing on Turo right now are very good. However, for anybody who's looking far as like from the front end all the way down towards the back, I don't know if it's actually sustainable. Like, yes, you can still remain profitable, but what you're getting for day prices right now for some of the vehicles, I don't know.
Yeah. Some people would say that there's a Turo bubble going on. What are
Yes.
your thoughts on that? Some people are saying that you have these people who have a bunch of cars, they got leverage on, they got debt on, they got to make the payments. What's your thoughts on the Turo bubble?
There is a Toro bubble. Due to the price inflation, it would cause a bubble. The price that you see right now, like I said, they may be, I would probably say, inflated by maybe $20 a day, or maybe a little bit less than that. Um, However, do I think that people are going to have a hard time? It all depends on how you bought your vehicles. The Toro bubble isn't what I'd be worried about. I would be more so worried about the used car bubble, right? Because once the
That
chip
too. It's gonna
shortage
be
stops, yes, once the chip shortage stops, used car prices are not going to be as much. Right now, everyone out here who's buying used cars are buying them at an escalated price, right? If you look at if you look at KBB, a lot of times you're going to be over that, and there's really nothing you can do about it, right? And Gap Insurance, here it is for anybody who's looking to jump in Toro and purchasing Gap Insurance. If your vehicle is ruined on Toro, Gap Insurance will not cover you
wow.
because it is not you. Gap Insurance only covers you.
That
So
sucks.
Toro is only going to give you what your car is worth, not what you paid for your vehicle. Toro will give you what your car is worth. They're pretty good with that. As far as their claim process, it's pretty streamlined. I had a couple incidents, and I've been paid out very handsomely. But Toro will only pay you what your car is worth,
That
not
sucks.
what you paid for it. So that gap in between, you're going to be liable for it.
Mm.
And if
So
you
you
try to
better
go
keep
to
some
your insurance,
reserves.
absolutely. Got to keep reserved for the. If you're over here on like in the tri-state, I would probably say have about like 3 months of reserves for the winter months because it's going to slow down. We do get a lot of snow here and there, and our weather is pretty much unpredictable. Shoot, we just had a tornado.
That's true. Man, let me see. I wrote a bunch of questions. We've been kind of flying through them.
Sorry,
How are
sorry.
you financing your fleet? Like, did you go straight through a credit union? Did you do the whole like finance a bunch in the first 30 days play? Like, what did that look like?
Depending on where you are, that whole finance 30 days things does not necessarily work. If you're not in a tourist state, like I'm in New Jersey, what do we got? We got the Statue of Liberty, which is still considered New York, and then we
That's
got
what I'm
the
saying. I
New
didn't know
York
it was in.
Giants.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? The New York Giants, their stadium is actually in New Jersey. Other than that, you really no one's coming to Jersey pretty much for anything, right?
The Giants share
So
a stadium with the Jets, right?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you got the Giant Jets. All of that is in New Jersey, right? But the problem is that football season is how long? And football season really isn't as big. Like everybody's going to Texas, everybody's going to Atlanta. You know what I mean? Everybody's traveling, everybody's going to Cali and stuff like that. If you run that 30-car, 30-day, you know what I mean, over here, you might be running for a dead end because you have to make sure that the demand itself can actually surpass what your quantity is because you want your
Hmm.
utilization to actually be suspensed. You know what I mean? You want a high utilization. You can't get high utilization if you don't have the demand for the vehicles. So
Yeah.
in that retrospect, you buy all of these cars and you try to do 30 cars in 30 days, you're stuck with 30 high car notes, 30 high insurance plans. You know what I mean? And now you got to get out of that hole.
Yeah.
But how I funded my fleet was I started with the X5, in which I had paid down, paid off. I got a nice check from that. And then from that, what I went and did, I used that money, like I said, and leveraged it through credit unions. Some of the cars I bought cash. Cash cars are very profitable, and they actually pay for everything else. I would actually recommend that if you're starting off, start off with a cash car. Um, Definitely start off with a cash car. And then one of the other things that helped me out is that my fleet is 100% Toro. I don't drive any of my cars, only to the gas station, to the car wash. And I even clean the cars myself. And I kept buying the car and then renting it out. That's kind of how my fleet
Yeah.
grew because
That's right. That's
I,
honestly that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, man, I kind of want to
so
put my
I'm,
Tesla on Turo.
God, I'm about to give you the play. I'm about to give you the play for that. And you probably don't want to hear it, but you know what? You actually might because a lot of people, it depends on where your mindset is at. The play for that is you have to go buy a car that you can't put on Toro. You have to do it. Buy a vehicle that can't be put on Toro. See, because Toro requirements is 12 years, 130,000 miles,
Hmm.
right? Sometimes you got to go get a hoopty, man. You got to get a car that won't register for Turo. And that was the play. Now all my cars, because if I'm riding around in a car that I got listed, how can it be rented? Which means that I can't make money off of it, right? So then I got to go and do something else. So what I did was I bought a vehicle. I bought an old car. I can't put it on Turo. The engine's strong. And now all my cars are full utilization. You can come pick up my car anytime you want. 24 hours. You know what I mean? Turo Boss remote booking. Let me tell you something. Over 100 trips. I probably met maybe 11 guests.
So let's talk about the remote booking. How do you structure that one?
You want to get, I don't know if you want to get into it. You got the course and stuff coming out. I don't want to drop too much. Yeah. You know, I rather don't buy that in the course, you know, because if I talk too much, you know what I mean? They're gonna, you know.
We'll discuss that offline.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that offline. Buy the course first, pre-sale, Toro Boss.
I mean, the
link in his bio.
The power of doing it remotely though is huge, because you don't want to be a slave to your business. You don't want to be somebody who actually has to go pick up the car and drop it off. You don't want to be the person who's taking Ubers, who's doing all these things, because then you just are an employee. You can't be a boss and an employee at the same time.
I have a mentorship program, but I'm actually helping a lot of individuals remove themselves from Turo. I know a few individuals, they joined the Turo app, they fell in love with it. It was profitable. You know, you got YouTube telling you to go ahead and do it, and Turo offered an incentive, which pretty much reeled a lot of people in, and a lot of people really didn't understand what they were getting into or what that incentive meant. Everybody thought they was going to get $2,000 for adding a vehicle, and that was not the case.
What was it? What happened?
In order to get the $2,000 incentive, you have to make $13,497.63 between July 1st and December 31st in order to qualify to get the $2,000 per vehicle. Whenever you see the word up to, you already know there's something hiding behind there.
Yeah.
What Turo wanted to do was Turo wanted to beef up its inventory before going public. And that's what Turo did. They beefed up the inventory by offering this crazy incentive. They actually split the insurance packages down as well. They offered more to us. Before it was 70-30 split, right? Now it's 75-25, depending on what plan that you're on. They gave us a little bit more money. They took away a little bit, but they gave the host a little bit more money, you know, to encourage more people to join. And which it worked. It's just that if you don't set your fleet up correctly, you might end up chasing the ball rather than being in front of it.
So we're going to circle around to the other places that you have your car listed.
Yes.
Somebody asked about Hire Car. Are you using that platform?
Yes. Hire Car is a whole different play. Hire Car, and I'm going to just say this. I hope nobody from Hire Car is watching. Hire Car and Turo are two different worlds. Two different worlds. Individual you get from Hire Car and individual you get from Turo is like night and day. Depending on what car you got, do not put that damn car on Hire Car. If it's a nice car, do not put it in Hire Car. If it can be reliable, make sure it's paid off, because they are hard on your vehicles in Hire Car. Sometimes you got to go find your cars and repo your vehicles off a Hire Car. Turo is a little bit different. The Turo customer service, everything is streamlined, everything is scaled on Turo. It's a lot easier. Hire Car is, even the app itself doesn't work. Like, you know what I mean? You have to go on hirecar.com and then click on owner side off of your phone in order to access everything efficiently. But Hire Car, there is a lot of money in Hire Car. You purchase the vehicle the correct way, you list the vehicle, because Hire Car is for people that do gig work. Because anybody don't know what Hire Car is, Turo doesn't allow you to do Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Grubhub, any of those things. Hire Car does. Yes, Hire Car does. Hire Car, they pay by the day, but they only can take the car initially for a minimum of 2 days. So when they come to take the car, you know, you pretty much like, you make your money, but at the same time, you're like, you're worrying 24/7 with Hire Car. With Turo, it's like, set it and forget it, you know?
Yeah, I have a friend who, he had his car on Hire Car and he been running it, making money. And then like a few days ago, he sent a picture, the whole backside was just crashed in.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
Lucky. He had to go find it on his own, or, you know what I mean? Or was it, was the renter nice enough to tell?
I'm not. they just like get an Uber somewhere else. Like, all right, we out.
Yeah.
It's not
Yep.
my car. It's not my responsibility. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
I never.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hire cars is a little different. You get some different clientele on hire car than you do on Turo. There's also Get Around as well. Get Around is another platform. There's another one called Avail. I believe Avail works out of the airports. Avail isn't available, which is funny. Avail isn't available everywhere yet. Avail is only in certain states, but they're kind of making their outreach to a lot of other different places. I've been contacted by a few different reps from the other platforms that are making a upcoming as well. But right now, I'm kind of a little sold on Toro.
Yeah, Vail is that thing where like if you're traveling, you can park your car there, and they'll match it with somebody who might be coming in at the
There
same
you go.
time.
Yes,
That's dope, man. That's some
it's a
creative
swap.
thinking right there.
But for Toro in your vehicle, as far as with the Tesla actually has, and also in California. I'm not sure if Toro Go is available over in New Jersey, but in certain states, Toro has already launched Toro Go, and what that means is you can leave your keys in the car, you can park it in a Toro Go spot that they have like at the airport and whatnot, and Toro takes care of everything. You don't have to be there
That's
for the
crazy.
booking. You don't have to have the keys off. You don't have to do anything. It's all streamlined.
Wow.
All streamlined.
Honestly, I would do that because the only time I really don't need my Tesla is when I'm gone. And so like in about a week and a half, I'll be in Atlanta. I'll be there from like Wednesday until Monday. And
Hmm.
I'm like, man, I could put my car on Turo, have it rented those few days,
Yeah.
and then I don't got to worry about that. But I have a hard time scheduling when I'm going to be out of town. But if I just got to park it and they just handle it, that's cool too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you do with Toro Go. You just make sure it's washed. You know what I mean? You let it go. And then because you can access everything from your phone. You know what I mean? With the
Right.
Tesla, you can
Yeah.
unlock everything from your phone. You don't need anything. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
got the
that thing is
camera.
dope, man.
You got the accident camera on the back. You got the accident camera on the side. If anything happened, you just send that footage off to Toro, and the rest is taken care of.
Shout out to Tesla. It's the best car ever, man. It's the best car ever. I need another one. I think I want a white one.
I I agree. I like them. I don't have one. I have driven a few Teslas. I am still like a few of my colleagues. They actually do have their vehicles, their Tesla vehicles on Toro. I'm just a little weary because I see how individuals are with far as their comprehension and understanding of electrical vehicle, right? They treat it like
Yeah.
a cell phone, right? You'll be sitting at home looking at your phone like, yo, is this guy gonna pull over and charge it or what? And before you know it, they think, 1% means that, oh, I got some in reserve. Nobody.
Yeah, yeah, it's
You
not
get
that
to
kind of deal.
zero, you know what I mean? And then now your car is somewhere, and they left it. So
Yeah,
that's the only thing you got to worry about. But Turo has
yeah,
the locator feature, so you can always find your vehicle. That part won't be an issue. Um, it's just pretty much that. And besides a lot of things being expensive, like far as the parts and whatnot, but little to no to zero maintenance. For anybody who is thinking about getting a Tesla, um, almost zero maintenance. I mean, most of your
yeah.
maintenance may come from tires because of the weight of a Tesla. The wear is actually on the inside of the tires. So just also make sure when you're doing
Mm,
check-ins and checkouts, turn your steering wheel to the right and get a picture of that. Because if you're in a vehicle, if a guest is in your vehicle on Turo and gets into an accident, right? The first thing they're going to check is they're going to ask you, well, how old are the tires? When the last time was the tires replaced? And if there's any
hmm.
kind of severe wear on the tire, they're going to pretty much deny your claim.
Yeah.
And you'll be, faced to, handle whatever, fully liable for all damages and whatnot. So
So
that's
that's why
definitely
you
something to watch
see
out for.
when you check in on a Turo, you'll see they measure the depth of the tread
Yes, yes.
and they take a picture
So
of it. So they're showing what was there.
yes, absolutely. A lot of people don't do that. It's not actually required, but it is recommended. Um, I tell a lot of individuals, hey, listen, when you take your pictures, make sure you get inside that wheel well. You want to get into a lot because your check-in is what protects you from any kind of crazy liability. Like, because you don't want to be liable for anything on the back end.
Yeah.
And that can happen a lot. And another thing, when you do your checkout, never do it at night. I don't check out a vehicle at night unless it has a trip that same night. If it's dark outside, you got 24 hours before you have to fully check it out before somebody could be, liable or non liable for the damages. So when you
Just
do it at
because
night,
you can't see it.
you can't see everything. So you go ahead and mark that car as there's no issues with it. You know what I mean? And do the checkout and everything's okay. And next you never know, you got a dent in the hood, and the next person come pick it up and he take it. You can't say
Hmm.
who. You know what I mean? So now guess who has to pay for it? You do. You stuck on the hood. I mean, you
Yeah.
stuck on the hook for that.
Yeah. Um, what are some mistakes you made when you're getting started?
Number one mistake in business is understand that business is never personal. I think that was one of my biggest things. Understanding that business isn't personal. If you love your car, don't put it on Toro. If you love your car, do not put it on a platform. And the reason why I say that is because when you love it, you have an attachment to it, right? You got to remove yourself from being attached from material things because
That's a
you
bar.
will start taking a lot of things personal when it comes to like somebody smoked in your car. You're like, yo, I just got this car. This is my baby. You know what I mean? So now
Yeah.
you hitting them up. Yo, what the fuck's going on? I mean, what you doing? You feel me? You don't want to take it there. You don't want to take it there. And another mistake, being too nice. Like letting people use letting people use the easy pads, which is the toll transponder for tolls. And like, let's say they bounce something came like $13, right? You're like, oh, that's only $13. I ain't gonna bill them for that. No, it's business. Nothing is free. They will bill you for it. Um, and then not taking pictures of the odometer. Because if you don't take pictures of the odometer or missing, like, then you can't charge if somebody goes over the mileage.
Yeah. Do
And
you do you have unlimited miles in your cars?
absolutely not. I did that one time, Todd. I did it one time. The joker
They'll
drove to
take that
Texas
car to
on me, man.
Texas.
Yo, I
Yeah.
just said it. I just Todd, yo, they got to Texas in a day and a half, man. They came, got my car, and drove my car to Texas. Um, yeah, that was wild. Good thing I take care of my cars because they drove the oldest car that I got. That they drove my 2012 to freaking Texas in a day and a half, man, and that was scary, man. But shout out to him though. He was real cool. His sister actually just she won a gold medal in the Olympics,
Okay.
so that
That's
was
what he
cool.
was
They
going
drove
out
down
there
to
for.
Texas A&M. Yeah,
Somebody
they're from
he
New
hit me
Jersey as
up
well.
because I had mine on unlimited miles, and then I took it off because it was just getting insane. I had
Nah, you crazy, man.
somebody drove my car to Yosemite, which is a good maybe 6 hours from Los Angeles, maybe 6 hours approximately. Somebody drove my car to they just be driving all over the place. I had to stop that. I'm like, I
What?
put this car
Not
on
the
Turo
Tesla,
so you
right?
could no, the Lexus.
Oh, all right.
I put
Whew.
this car so they
Uh,
could drive to and from like LA. I like when they're in LA, they might go to the beach, they might go to Pasadena. That's what it's for. Maybe they even go to Orange County. But
yeah.
this ain't the commuter car. I don't even commute in that car.
So what a lot
That's
of
my
people have to
baby.
understand, you can't put it up there if it's your baby. A lot of people have to understand that you have to make sure you read the terms of service. That might be a mistake that I made in the beginning. You cannot limit where individuals can or cannot go. As long as they don't cross over the border of Mexico, they can actually go into Canada. They can go to Canada. You can't choose where they can and can't go. So as long as they get there one day, you know what I mean, or whatever their trip duration is, you know what I mean. Like you gotta allow it. You know, like you also just got to be cognizant of your stipulations that you do provide for Toro because there's a few things called uh, gray market transactions. Those are something that you want to stay away from on Toro. And a gray
Mm,
market transaction is accepting a tip or giving any kind of form of currency to a guest.
mm,
Toro will kick you off of that.
really?
Yes. You are not allowed to give the guest a ride to anywhere after the trip is over. You're not allowed to pick the guest up and ride in the vehicle with the guest either. Those are the
I wonder
kind of
why.
things that get you kicked off. I guess it's got to be insurance and liability issues.
I
Um,
um I just had a car and I left my sunglasses in the car. And so he sent me a picture. He was like, "Hey, you left your sunglasses here." And so I told him that I would send him the money for shipping. I can't do that, can I?
just in case somebody from Turo is watching, no, do not. Now,
All
what you
right.
would do is you would text them. not actually go through the messenger and speak to
Right,
them
right, right,
that
right,
way.
right, right. I mean, they weren't
Um,
even that they weren't even that expensive of sunglasses, but I liked them a
yeah,
lot. Otherwise, I just would have said, "Oh, don't worry about it."
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't do that. And this is another thing for anybody else out there who's thinking about listing their vehicle on Turo. When you're posting your pictures, if you do not have commercial insurance, make sure your license plates are not showing and your listing photos. Now, as far as your check-in photos, your license plates can show. However, insurance companies really don't necessarily allow Toro
Mm,
because it's very, very high liability because you got X amount of people coming in and out of these vehicles, right? Even though Toro covers your insurance, even though Toro covers, well, even though your car is covered under Toro insurance, your insurance company is still like, I don't want nothing to do with it. They'll drop you.
yeah, yeah.
They'll drop you.
So,
And make sure you take your personal insurance card out of the vehicle because yes, and take your personal insurance, and you don't even need your registration to be in there. Right?
wow.
There's a rental agreement and an incident card that comes out with every trip. The guest can access that from the app
Through the
from the
app.
platform just by hitting the help tab, and that'll come up. And the reason why is because we had an individual, one of the other people that I'm actually helping out now. It was offended. It was actually a door ding at the supermarket. Right? He had 12 cars. Right? This is his cheapest car. He rented out for one day. Uh, Somebody opened the door and hit another car. They apologized, you know what I mean? He ended up opened up the glove department, see the insurance information, ended up giving a policy number to the individual who door he dinged instead of giving them Toro's information. Well, what happened is that his insurance called him, did an investigation, and then they pretty much dropped him. So now he's searching for insurance. And, a lot of times, once they find out certain things, you can get blackballed as well by insurance companies as well. If you guys think they don't communicate like banks do, you got a lot to learn. You got a
Yeah,
lot to learn.
yeah, yeah. Man, that's powerful, man.
Thank you. Thank
Wow. What was I gonna ask you? I'm still trying to figure out this whole finance and the fleet thing. So
you.
what's the communication? Because I mean, they're pulling your credit. They're gonna look at your debt to income. They're gonna see this person has three, four cars. This person has, like my personal situation. I have my car, the Lexus, which is there's no debt, it's paid off. There never was a note. My Tesla, which is financed, and my wife's car, which is financed. So then if I go and I'm looking for another car, then it's like, what are they gonna say?
Make
Because I
more
want to go
money.
look for another car.
Just make more money. The more
That
money
makes
you
sense.
make, the more
It doesn't
money you
matter.
make, and the more money you got on that W-2 that you report at the end of the year, the debt to income ratio is totally different.
That's the
Talk
gym.
to the credit unions. Talk to the credit unions. Talk to the financial institutions. Network with them. These type of partnerships here, allow people to look over what's actually on the paper because they know that you're
Yeah,
good for it. They know that you're a credible figure. They know that you're going to come back with good business. You know what I mean? So a lot of times your debt to income ratio, and depending on where you go, like as long as you're not trying to buy a house or something like that, they'll keep giving you cars. But I would actually suggest stay away from the banks when looking for loans. Work with credit unions. A lot of small credit unions, believe it or not, don't even report your debt to the credit bureaus.
mm,
A lot of the small credit unions, if you mess up, you miss a payment, that gets reported. They do pull your credit initially, but far as
hmm,
anything else, a lot of times they don't even report that to the credit bureaus. Like I have loans that I have got from vehicles that are not showing up on my credit reports. And I've been using this credit union, for a while, and I've been purchasing vehicles through it, and it never shows up. Even when I buy a house under my personal name, that doesn't show up. And then secondly, there's also business credit, Todd. That right there is the bar of the bars, man. Business credit itself is the way to separate Todd Capital from money making Todd. I don't know which one is which, but yeah, they both the same person. But to separate those two, because if you can put it on your LLC, which limits the liability, it doesn't go into your personal finances. So at the end
yeah,
of the day, you can run it. You can run a checkup. You know what I mean, under your business, but as the individual itself, you could have no liabilities, no assets, no anything.
yeah. In terms of insurance,
Do you have full coverage and then you also have Turo insurance?
So
Or do
the
you have
way it
liability?
works, somebody just said Navy Federal. Yes, Navy Federal is the bag play. Um, but far as it depends on the kind of vehicle. If you're financing a vehicle, you can't have liability on it. They're not going to allow it. They're not going to allow
Right.
you to
You're
have
right. Exactly.
liability. Yeah.
You gotta have
So if
full
you're
coverage. That
financing a
is.
vehicle, you got to have full coverage on it.
But like your
If
car in
you're
your cash car.
on my cash car is liability. I
Yeah.
already got what I paid for the car back. So my return on my investment has already been paid fully back to me. And then on top of that, if
Hmm.
anything happens to this car, that car getting a fender bender, God knows it'll be totaled. You know what I mean?
Right.
The car is probably worth actually, right now, I might get a check. I get a check because of used car shortage and used cars are so much more money right now. So I'll
Yeah.
actually get paid if my car got dinged up right now.
The cash cars, are you still putting those on Turo, or are those strictly hire car?
No, those go on Toro as well. Those go on
Really?
Toro as well. Absolutely.
I always thought that you had to make
Absolutely.
the distinction. I didn't know you could put just a regular car on Turo.
Yes, yes. No, and that's because of the marketing. That's Turo ad and marketing. Turo don't show you the everyday vehicles. Listen, if you
Yeah,
want to be
Camry.
profitable on the Camry, if you want to be profitable on this platform, I call it the three keys, right? You want utilization, reliability, and availability, right? In order for your utilization to be high, your car got to be available all the time. Your car has to be reliable, right? In order for all three of these things to play into play, you got to make sure that you have the right relationships and network. Coming into Toro as an individual, and then coming to Toro with a business mindset is what separate the men from the boys. What separate the individuals who are non-profitable, who are chasing car notes, from the people who are making way more than their car notes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I have a relationship. I have a network, a private network of individuals who understand exactly what it is that I do. I actually have a partnership with a auto shop that actually he does Toro as well. It's one over at Genesis Auto. Let me tell you something. He does Toro. He understands Toro. So when you have these kind of partnerships with these individuals, what tends to happen is they understand that you are a priority, right? So when you bring your car in there, he be like, yo, this is your Toro car. I'll have it out because you got to get this back on the road. If he understands that, my availability and my reliability is top notch. You know what I mean? So you keep those cars on the road. You keep those cars rolling.
Um, we have some questions. This one says, do you have any goals for collaborations with an executive security company?
I don't think so. Me personally, I don't see what my need would be for a collaboration right now at this state in my career, or my Toro, entrepreneurship, or with any kind of security companies. I'm a one-man show. I can pretty much run everything myself. So if I start to grow to maybe 30 cars or something like that, actually, to be honest, my process is so scalable that I really don't ever think I'll need someone.
Hmm. Let's see. Would you recommend video recording in your vehicles?
If you do that, just know that you do have to disclose it. No, I would like to give my renters. I would like to give my renters privacy. Think of Turo as an Airbnb for cars. If a camera's not allowed to be in the Airbnb and record individuals in there, then 9 out of 10 times you don't want them in a vehicle either. So stay
Yeah,
away from that. If you're
I think
doing Uber, that's something totally different. But that's a violation of privacy.
that's kind of just weird, man. Who would really want to stay
Yeah,
in your house if you're watching it, like Big Brother?
exactly. Right.
That's crazy. I think I saw another question. This just says, save this
What's up? What
video.
else we got?
That's not a question.
Oh, yeah.
But if you guys have any questions, definitely drop them in there.
I
Let me
appreciate it.
see. Somebody
Yes,
said,
please do.
do you recommend installing Lojack or tracking devices?
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
that's another talk for
That's
another. That's another talk.
um
You get
would you
where I'm
say
going with
that
that, right, Todd?
would you say that Turo is a man's field? That's
No,
what somebody's
no.
asking.
Oh, no, 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 not at all. A lot of my colleagues, a lot of people that I work with inside my Toro community are actually women.
Mm.
They're actually women, and they are killing it. I mean, killing it. And then I have some of the individuals I'm actually mentoring now are also women as well. I have one individual. She just started maybe about like 2 weeks ago. with a Maxima, and I think she made what, $800 in 2 weeks. So she's happy. Her car paid
Yeah.
for itself. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. This question, it says, how do you insure your car if you can't use personal insurance?
There is, like I said, it's a gray area, right? I'm not telling you guys to go out here. Nah, it's too much. It's too much legal liability, and like what I was saying, I don't want to give that kind of advice to
Right.
individuals, especially not on live. However, what I would say to anybody like that is to find insurance companies who are okay with this kind of ride sharing. You can call
Yeah.
in and ask them. You know what I
Usually
mean?
they'll even ask you too. They'll ask you like, are you going to be using this car for this up front? And usually you can just say
Yes, they
yes.
do. Yeah, no. Yeah,
Yeah.
you say yes. You can say yes, and they just be like, all right, well, we can't offer you coverage. So
Well,
they
I think
like
sometimes they can though. And I think they
for
just,
Uber,
I mean,
and stuff, yes. But there's no option for Turo. When they say ride share, they're gonna ask what type, and they're gonna have it listed.
oh,
Turo isn't up there. Turo, a lot of people really don't know about Turo, believe it or not.
hmm.
A lot of people are actually just catching on to the Turo wave.
They always find a way to lock folks out, man.
They will. They will.
They're like, oh,
And
you can't do Airbnb because of this. You can't do this.
mhm,
Like, bro, what can a
the
brother
more
do?
people, that find out about Toro, the harder it's going to become. The market itself is starting to become a lot more saturated than it was. Um, but Toro will have his way of weeding individuals out. My advice to anybody out here right now is do not get kicked off the platform, because once you get kicked off, you won't be allowed back on.
Mm. Mm. Hey, first off, shout out to Harlem Candles. This thing is fire, man. This one's called Speak
Shout out
Easy.
to shout out to
Shout out to
Harlem
Harlem
Candles.
Candles.
Absolutely,
Let me see. Let me
absolutely.
see. Uh, let's see. Can you explain the difference between a Lojack and a tracker?
A tracker. A tracker is just a device to tell you where your vehicle is at. A LoJack locates and disables the vehicle.
For
Trackers
cold
don't
weather state,
have the disable.
for cold weather states, do you recommend focusing on SUVs?
No, not necessarily. I'll tell you a cold weather state that's fucking killing the market right now, and that's Alaska. Alaska is crazy. The Alaska
Really?
market is the best market so far. I'll be honest with you.
That's
Like a
crazy.
Camry in Alaska is probably $160 a day. The
You
Alaska
wouldn't
market
think
is
that.
crazy. Yeah, you wouldn't. However, if you're in the cold weather states and snow, like states that get snow and stuff like that, my advice to you is when you build your fleet, diversify it. And when I say diversify it, everybody tell you, if you look at what's the most profitable vehicles are on Toro, you're gonna get Ford Fiesta, front wheel drive, um, Chevy Camaro, rear wheel drive, Chevy Camaro convertible, soft top, rear wheel drive. Um, towards the end of that list, you get like a few Beamers and stuff like that. But most of the vehicles that are like top of the list are actually rear wheel drive vehicles. Stay away from rear
Hmm.
wheel drive vehicles if you're in cold weather states. Try to
Interesting.
stick to front wheel drive and four wheel drive, because
Yeah.
what's going to happen is that a lot of people understand that, right? If you think your Charger is actually going to get rented out during a snowstorm, your SRT Hellcat, it's not. It's not. It's too much of a liability. You know what I mean? And what's going to happen is you're going to start losing money. You're going to have to start paying that money back to those. You got to start paying
Yeah.
your car note. With all my vehicles, I have not
And
paid the car note.
and also you don't want
Yeah.
somebody out there driving around in your rear wheel drive
Mm-mm.
car, not knowing what
No,
they're
no,
doing in the
no.
snow.
Nah. Hey, honestly, Todd, I tell them like this: they're gonna crash and flip it over. Like, don't don't just give me like a little fender bender. Flip it over, like totally, because I already got the next car I want. Like, I already know what I want next. Make sure you're okay, but don't bring it back.
That's funny. Uh, let's see. This question says, "What is your exit strategy with the finance
hmm
vehicles?"
That's what I was actually going to get to. I actually had it written down, and this is just one of the final points. My exit strategy with the vehicles This right here is the play, and I'm gonna tell you why. Is because a lot of people don't think this through. And I kind of mentioned it in the beginning. If you get into a jam or decide that Turo is no longer for you, to get out with taking a minimum loss, you have companies like WeBuyAnyCar.com, Carvana, Vroom. These companies will buy your car from you with a car note. They will take the car off your hand with a car note, giving you what the car is worth, paying your lien holder the value of what the car is worth. If there's anything left over, you get a check. If there's nothing left over, you have to pay. So you don't have to have the car fully paid off. So in the event that Turo does not work out for me or doesn't work out for you, look into those companies because that's how you wash it. At least get your debt. You can wash away some of your debt, or you can wash away, which is the big thing, some of your liability.
That's good to know.
That's always the exit strategy.
Any other final points that I didn't get a chance to ask you? Looking at my notes.
We spoke about everything. Like I said, networking is probably, like I said, one of the strongest things. Network is the strongest thing in Turo. I got a tire guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
got a repair guy. And what I'm actually offering now, like in the packages that I create and what I'm about to actually start doing in the classes, is that, like I said, I made a partnership with an individual with an auto shop, with Genesis Auto, and not only we can repair vehicles there, you can bring your car there to be repaired. We can actually help you buy any vehicle that you want at below market value. So you'll always be under KBB. You know what I mean? So having those relationships, like I said, I can go get a car and still be under market value. If my car breaks, my car can be repaired. If I need tires, I can go get tires. These are the things that always keep your car available, right? And when your car is available, you get like good ratings, you become an all-star host, right? When you start making that money on Turo, like you become what they consider as a Turo power host. A power host, that's a different kind of club. A power host, you have to actually not just keep astounding metrics, you have to actually make $3,000 average in a 3-month rolling period. And from there, you got to keep stepping the bar. And for anybody who's like still trying to understand Turo and still maybe not grabbing the whole concept, if you understand real estate, you understand Turo. Turo itself is nothing but little rental properties. That's all that they are. Yeah. Little rental properties is little Airbnb, and the money is coming in and the money is going out. Like you got to send somebody in there to clean after the Airbnb. You got to go get your car cleaned out and get your car ready for the next guest. All right?
I want an Airbnb.
Yeah.
I want to. That's my new goal. I want an Airbnb.
You pair the Airbnb with Turo, right? So now when the individual comes stay at your Airbnb, they got a vehicle to drive. Boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you use 8 on both sides of the spectrum.
You ever use Swap a Lease is the question?
I haven't. Swap a Lease is another way. I try to stay away from leases with using Turo.
Because the mileage issue.
Mileage issue, yes. Not necessarily just the mileage issue itself. If you look into your lease agreement, your lease agreement actually tells you that you're not allowed to sublease your vehicle out. So you're not allowed to sublease it out. By subleasing your vehicle out, you actually are in violation of terms in which they can default on it and tell you, hey, listen, bring that damn car back. That's one thing. So you don't want to be left like that. And then number 2, with leasing a vehicle, like I said, you always got to worry about the mileage. You actually limit your profitability when you run a lease because you only got X amount of miles. So now every time you go up, your mileage is now eating away from your bottom line. So I try to stay away from leases for that sense. Oh, and when you're buying a car, you're going to the credit union, you're going to the dealership. Do not tell them that you're using a car for Turo. You don't tell them because that is a very, very high risk. Because there will, and you're not purchasing gap insurance. It's a very, very high risk because you go buy this car, you tow it out the next day. How is the financial institution going to get paid? Right? So don't mention that you're using a car for Turo. You're buying a car just to add another car to your fleet or for the house. You need a winter car.
I need a Range Rover. Let me see if I got all these questions. Let me see. Getting a whole bunch of gym emojis, so shout out to that.
I got a few more time. I got some more time, a little bit.
people were asking, where can they come to you for mentorship? And I know you only got like 8 spots left or something very small.
It's going down. The link is in my bio. The link is in my bio.
Talk to them about
check
what
it
they'll
out.
get from that mentorship.
From that mentorship, you get one-on-one coaching and mentoring, data market analysis. You do get access to my network. I can actually analyze what your profile issues are. We can actually take pictures. We can pretty much go over everything. The mentorship was built and designed to slow Turo down for you, to tailor Turo to your market. That's pretty much what it was for.
Yeah.
And that's my goal, like far as that, because Turo does move fast. Turo can be either as simple or as hard as you make it. You know, my job is to help make it simple for you.
This is nationwide. Anybody in any state can reach out to you.
Anybody in any state can reach out to me. Anybody in any state can reach out to me. Now, as far as my guarantees do vary depending on your car and your location. But other than that, yes. I only have, like I said, I got about like 8 spots left. I do have a Turo course out. I'll be dropping another course as well. You can also find that inside my bio as well.
Let me see. How can we set up and send details of the rental to the guest about their pickup?
All of that is done through the app. That's called the check-in feature, and there's a messaging feature in the app where you can chat with the guests.
Yeah, super straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Is your aunt Sharice, MD?
Yes.
It's mine.
Thank you, Aunt Reese.
Yes. So it's been another episode of the Millionaire Talk Show. I'm having this uploaded on YouTube. Of course, I'm going to save the live. All the links for his information could be in his bio. And we might even add it to the link in my bio so we'll get you guys tapped in. But we're coming up on time. We will leave the replay. So we probably already addressed whatever question you're adding in here now in the beginning. So just watch it over again. And if you have any other questions, reach out to them for mentorship. Of course, the Turo Boss course is coming out very, very soon. I think it's next week. And you can catch that. I'm actually running a sale right now, very generous sale, only for the next 50. And I think those 50 are going very fast.
I think that's real generous, Todd.
Yeah. Click the link in the bio for that.
Yeah. For what you offering, that's real generous. And my closing statements, man, is just, thank you for everything, man. Like, aside from this platform, anybody who don't know, Todd has helped me out crazily with his courses. Like, I actually am like a testimony of what his course has actually provided. The option course, if you see it, take it. All right. As far as he just dropped the book and he dropped the price down to a damn $1. Buy the book. He's giving out free game that does not cost you anything. Listen, I'll buy the books for you guys, but listen, read it. I'm serious. Todd, listen, you are a gift, man. Real. You are the play. You are the gym. Seriously. You helped me out crazy. You provide essentials so individuals will never, ever have to be broke again. I don't have to rely on my job. I work because I love what I do. You know what I mean? I love what I do, so that's why I do it. But, I can run option plays all damn day long. Off of your course, I think, I'll say it now. I didn't want to say it back then, but, it was a day. I made like 70K in a freaking day. You know what I mean? Just following your schooling. Now,
that's crazy.
I wasn't smart enough, so I lost it too that same day, but that's a whole nother story. But like I said, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for everything.
I appreciate you. Yeah, that's all we got for you today. We're going to keep doing more of these. I might bring on, this might be Turo week. So I might get my brother Greg. I might get somebody else up there. We're going to continue to hit you guys with some Churro fire as we work on getting this course out to you guys. We out.
We out.
All right, man.
Adios.